Hello, I'm honored today to tell you a little bit about my story with Nations of Coaches. You know, a few years ago, I was very fortunate to be able to go with a coach and his team on their foreign trip to the Dominican. And on that trip, I was with him for a week, and I was just blown away by how much you do as coaches. You guys do more in a week than most people do in 2 or 3. And even more so, I was completely impressed by what this coach did with his team. He had everybody kind of tell a little bit about their stories, and it was so cool to see that despite some really tough upbringings and some tough things that they have happened in their life, this coach just brought out the greatness in them. He spoke into them with love and care and faith, and it just brought out the men in these kids. And what's even neater to see for me is years later they've all graduated, and I've stayed in touch with a lot of them, and a lot of them are still using those traits and those characteristics that coach brought out of them, and also their faith in kind of trying to find playing time in today's life in the real world in business. And so it actually inspired me to make some changes in my life. I used to be in sales, and now I'm a coach myself. I am what we call in our company a dream coach, kind of a life coach. You could kind of equate it to somewhat of a character coach for Nations of Coaches. And my why is to encourage others so that they see their contribution, potential, and purpose in life. You guys know your potential and your purpose, and I would just ask you to continue doing your contribution. Your contribution is so impactful in speaking into these young men and bringing out the men in them. And keep doing that, because it is making a big difference in our world today. Is putting these men out into the real world with great qualities and great character. I've heard some great stories through this COVID-19. Where people have found more time to do things that they love, be with their family, be with their kids. And I know I've found that in my life, as I've kind of slowed down a little bit. I used to, every morning when I would pray before I coached people, I would pray that God would be with me. And what I've realized now is God's always with me. Now that I've slowed down, God's always with me. I just needed to listen to him more. And so now every morning I pray that he gives me the eyes and the ears and the heart to see him, to hear him, to feel him, so I can coach people better. And I would just ask you guys to take the time to really reflect back on this time, and what have you seen that have been uplifting things for you? Where have you found some time that you didn't have before? Maybe take that forward with us through this quarantine, and maybe take your kids to the park once a week, or go have lunch with your wife once a week, or maybe it's just spending time with yourself, using that time in prayer and reflection. Find out what your dreams are, besides maybe winning a national title or putting kids graduating through school. What else do you want to do in your life? I think it's just taking the time to do that, and spending a little time in prayer can do nothing but help that.